What's going on, YouTube? OCD for EDC here. What I've got for your face balls today. We're going to be doing a little history lesson here. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I'm pretty into history. This knife that I'm going to show off is really all about history. It's pretty interesting, and so we're going to get into it. And this is the knife in question right here. This comes from Boker, Germany. And this is the first like premium Boker that I've ever had. Boker's not a company that I really kind of look at that often, but certainly they've made some really cool stuff over the years. This is the Boker Plus ME-109 Damast Toxic Storm. Let's check it out, see what we got going on here. This is the certificate of authenticity, and you can see here, if I read German, I would be able to read that, but if you guys want to check it out, you can see what's going on there. So we've got 80 layer Chad Nichols Damascus, multicolor carbon fiber toxic storm, fat carbon, and this is called the wave pool pattern of Damascus. So very cool. And here is the back. They got some information there for Boker Germany and Boker USA. But let's see what else we get in the package. So we get this nice zipper pouch. It's got a sewn on kind of rubber Boker Plus patch on the front there, and just a regular zipper style pouch. You get some books and stuff here. We got German and English. Pluck 'em and file 'em, as Floss would say. And then, of course, we got some poison for the trolls. We'll get rid of that as well. And then here is said knife. We got a little Velcro pouch on top, and then a little 2-layer pocket here. So nice, soft, and supple on the inside. Very nice. But here is the knife. We'll throw this off to the side. Right off the bat, we're checking out some amazing fat carbon here that's absolutely gorgeous. The yellow and green looks beautiful, and just the way it picks up light. I mean, fat carbon, you guys already know, fat carbon is gorgeous. And you can see on the blade here, we've got some interesting stuff happening right there. And then we've got just a simple black. I'm not sure the material, almost looks like maybe it's aluminum, but we'll figure it out because I'm going to open this thing up here in a minute. A nice pocket clip with a ceramic ball. Looks like we've got plenty of space under there for pant material. Very nice. And then a very clean looking frame lock side. It is a titanium frame lock. Does have an internal relief cut for the lock bar, which is awesome. And we have internal hardware for the lock bar insert, which, yeah, it looks like that's an insert. And so the hardware's got to be internal, which is cool. But let's flip this guy once. Boom, there we go. Now, check out the Damascus here. Very, very cool. And the fact that it's this wave pool pattern that has these circles in it is also very cool. Blade is very reminiscent of the Messerschmitt BF-109 airplane, which this is designed after. And if you're not familiar about the BF-109, we're going to talk about it. Because, like I said, I'm kind of a history nerd, and it's pretty interesting. So, we've got the Boker Plus logo on this side right there. And then on the show side, it says ME-109 Damast. Otherwise, a very attractive looking knife in my opinion. Very cool looking. I'm really digging this thing. But let's get a couple of measurements here. Now, just to let you know, I was fully expecting this knife to be larger than what it is based off of the dimensions that I was seeing online. However, those dimensions are incorrect. So I'm going to give you actual dimensions here. This thing is reported online as being a 3.4 inch blade. And you can see right there, it is exactly a 3-inch blade, or very, very close to that. I need to get a new battery from my calipers here. Handle on this thing is 4-inch handle. So we're looking at a 3-inch blade, 4-inch handle, 7-inch overall, which is a pretty good EDC size Personally, I wish that this thing was larger. We're looking at 132 thousandths on the blade stock. And this, like I said, is 80 layer wave pool pattern, Chad Nichols Damascus. And it is made from steel that was taken from the BF 109s. I will enter a picture of the BF 109 right here. And as you can see on that photograph, the cockpit is very reminiscent to the shape and the cutouts going on up here where the thumb ramp or the jimping for the thumb placement. This knife is very comfortable in hand. It is extremely lightweight. Let's get a weight on it actually. 2.284 ounces for a 3-inch blade, 7-inch overall knife. Not a bad weight at all. And like I said, it is very comfortable in hand. It's a little bit on the small side for me, but again, it does work extremely well. So you can see here, you know, I can put my pinky back on this right here, but it's really a 3-finger knife. Certainly going to carry very well. Titanium frame lock flipper. Definitely has all of the curb appeal that you would want in something like this. But getting back to the Messerschmitt BF 109. Now, the BF 109 is a super cool aircraft. Once World War I had ended and the Treaty of Versailles was signed, the German Air Force had been completely dismantled. Their military had been completely just kind of decimated, and the country went through, you know, a serious depression. Well, enter in Adolf Hitler. He and the National Socialist Party vow to take Germany back to its former glory. And one of the ways they did this was to start building up the German Air Force known as the Luftwaffe. And one of the planes that they set out to build, they put out a commission, and multiple manufacturers got in on the action, but they ultimately decided to go with the design from Willy Messerschmitt, known as the BF 109. And the BF 109 was just a huge leap forward in technology. There were so many things going on with this aircraft that made it just an absolutely it was just head and shoulders above everything else at the time. This is before, you know, like the English Spitfire was built, and this is before the P-51 Mustang. And so the 109 was just, like I said, it was just head and shoulders above everything else, and it was just decimating every opponent that it faced. Now, one of the really cool things about this knife, you can see these kind of fullers that are ground in on both sides. That is reminiscent of the two 7.92 millimeter machine guns that fired through holes with ducts just like this in the fuselage, and were synchronized to fire through the propeller, which is really, really cool. And then they also outfitted several different models of this with a 20 millimeter cannon, which was mounted above the engine and would shoot through the propeller shaft. So there was actually a hole in the propeller nose cone, and 20 millimeter cannon shots would be fired through there. It's one of the most successful airframes in war history. At the beginning of World War II, when they fought the Russians, they were accredited to shooting down something like 4,000 Russian airplanes and only lost like 80 109s during that battle. So pretty impressive, crazy numbers. Now, of course, we all know the outcome of World War II and the Allied fighters. You know, we got aircraft like the Spitfire and the P-51 Mustang. These were incredible aircraft that were faster, more maneuverable, but they came years after the 109. I am in no way, shape, or form a proponent of, I just think that the technology is cool and the engineering and stuff, and the fact that this is made from steel that actually was in the BF 109 is really cool. And Boker does a lot of this. They do it with tanks as well. You know, several different tanks. I think they have the Tiger series, the Sherman. Yeah, I can't remember what all tanks they've done these kind of war history models of knives on, but it's really cool stuff. And they make all sorts of different Damascus out of steel that came from these actual pieces of equipment, you know, whether it be tanks or airplanes or whatever. And the BF 109 is just such an iconic airplane. It's such a cool looking airplane, and it was way ahead of its time, technologically speaking. And there was just so many things about it that the feats of engineering there were super impressive. So to have a little piece of the BF 109 made into a knife like this is really cool. Chad Nichols did an amazing job on this Damascus. It's beautiful. And if you notice, it's all one color. So the way that you do this is by, after the Damascus is done, and you etch the Damascus, then you go back and tumble or wire wheel that Damascus, and then you get this kind of a look where it takes off the really dark coloring of the one steel. And so you don't end up with the color variation, but you end up with like a topographical situation going on. Let me see if we can get that to show up on camera well. Okay, just we'll do a couple size comparisons here. Here it is with a Benchmade bug out. Actually, because it has a black blade, I'll put it on the bottom. That dark blue kind of screws with it a bit. So you can see that the bug out's a little bit larger. Here it is with a Spyderco Para 3. So you can see we're right in kind of Para 3 territory here as far as overall length, but obviously much, much slimmer design. Here is a Benchmade 943. And here is a Spyderco Watu. So there you go. That's the kind of overall size of the knife that we're looking at. So let's get up in the guts of this old girl here and see what all we're working with. Okay, so we have a T8 pivot. Okay, and then yeah, these are T6 body screws back here in the back. Perfect. Okay, all the hardware is black. Here is the fat carbon. Oh, and this thing's riding on washers. I did not expect that. I expected this to ride on bearings. Okay. So it's a combination of Teflon and phosphor bronze washers that this is riding on. I'm going to guess just one on each side. Oh, and you can see the wonderful grease that they put in there, which we, of course, are going to correct that situation with some Slick-em-all. You guys want to check out the Slick-em-all, go to ocd4edc.com so you can pick some up for yourself, but it is wonderful, wonderful lubricant. Oh boy. Yeah, this, I don't know what kind of lube the Germans used here, but it is not high-end lube, that's for sure. So I'm going to get the lube off of all these washers that are on here. Holy cow. Yeah, that stuff's terrible. This action is going to be greatly improved once we're done with this, because that stuff was sticky and nasty. Now, backspacer, I'm going to say the backspacer is aluminum. It looks like just black anodized aluminum, and I'm going to guess that that's exactly what it is. We do have, I don't know if these are titanium or brass pivot collars, but either way, they look nice against the black hardware. So we do have a D-shaped pivot there, and we do have, boy, that is an interesting way that they did the lock bar insert. So we've got the hardened steel lock bar insert, we've got a steel detent ball, and then you can see some machining on the backside there. That's really interesting. And then they've got these kind of grooves cut there for a little bit of traction on the lock bar. So blade has an internal stop pin. So they tried to polish the area up where the detent rides because they didn't mask it off. I would have rather that they would have put a detent ramp, which is something that I might do, but ultimately they should have polished this up so the action would be a little bit better, or masked it off before. That would have been the preferred thing. Mask it off before you do the etching. Let's get some Slick-A-Mall in this old girl and get this thing working better. All right, like I said, you can go to OCD4EDC.com, pick yourself up some Slick-A-Mall. It's wonderful stuff. Comes with a couple different applicators. I'm going to use the hard applicator here, and let's get it out and ready to go. Okay. Okay, so now we've got it all put back together. I think my pivot is a little bit too loose. There we go. Blade centering looks good. Yeah, it's a cool looking knife. There's no doubt about it. And, oh yeah, action definitely much better than it was, for sure. So that part is wonderful. Oh yeah, it's beautiful. I might go through and clean up the action even more. We'll see. But anyway, this is the Boker ME-109 Damast that is based on the BF 109 warplane from World War II. Very, very cool. Hopefully, you guys love taking a look at this thing. I really like this kind of stuff, and I'm pumped that Boker is doing it because I think it's just a really neat way to, get people interested in checking out some history, because there's definitely some very cool stuff out there, and in my opinion, fun to learn. So, anyway, thanks so much, guys. Hopefully, you enjoyed that. We will catch you next time. I'm out of here.